Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Holistic Frugivore Podcast. It's Jess here, your frugivore host for the show. I hope everyone had a great holiday, and we'll have New Year's coming up here this week as well. Lots going on this time of year. I had an idea of what I wanted to talk about this week. It was going to be more regenerative detox and colon and lymphatic health. However, due to a plethora of posts and information I've seen lately about vitamin D, I felt the need to do a podcast about it. And kind of not even just vitamin D, but kind of nutrients in general. The concept that we have about nutrient deficiency and what that truly is. So, to first start off, I'm going to say that I worked as a personal trainer for several years before I had my first son. I had my first son about 7.5 years ago or so. So I was working as a personal trainer a couple years before that. And during that time, I received my personal training certification. You do all the stuff, the education part of it, the nutrient coaching part of it, all the stuff that comes with that, the nutrition coaching. And I was working for a really great company. I'm not going to say the name now just because I'd rather not. But we're considered ahead of the game in terms of the nutrition aspect of it. So they had their own nutrition coaching, nutrition education that we went through. So during that time, they also had supplements to sell, protein powders. A lot of gyms had all that stuff. So I got into all of that area. I was into the supplements and the powders and all the stuff that comes with fitness and working out. I was doing triathlons. So I fell into that trap. And I feel like it is a little bit of a trap because we get led into wanting to be healthier and live a healthy lifestyle. And then we get led into this other path within that path of saying, we need all these powders and vitamins and supplements and all this other stuff because everything is deficient. You're deficient, your body's deficient, your food is deficient. So we just have to add all this stuff to give you extra. But when you strip it all down, our body is much more intelligent than that. Truly, we don't give ourself and our body enough credit. I've said it once and I've said it before, I'll say it again. Our human body is a wonderfully intelligent, self-regulating organism, self-regulating mechanism. A very powerful, energetic, light body. And we get very stuck in the physical idea of the body, the weight, the macronutrients, the proteins, carbs, and fats, the calories, the micromanaging of the little things to try to create this perfect blend, this perfect recipe of a diet. And 99% of the time, it either doesn't work right or it's not sustainable. It's going to wear you out, exhaust you, or create a very addictive environment around your nutrition. And it can create very addictive behaviors. And I see it all the time within the multi-level marketing things, and I've been a part of that as well. I'm coming with zero judgment. I've been in Young Living. I've looked into so many different of the multi-level marketing, so I've been there too. And ultimately, I just want to say none of it's necessary. Not because we can't benefit from those things, but because one, most of those supplements are not whole food based and not fully whole foods. Some of them are advertised as whole food based. They have whole food ingredients, but they also have a whole bunch of other ingredients that they don't talk about. That's what I found with the gym that I was working at. They were good on the base structure, and then they ended up adding other stuff like your citric acids, and there's like carrageenan and these other added things, added natural flavors, whey protein isolates, which are awful for our body. Our body does not efficiently break that down. So that adds damage to our digestive system, and it bogs down our kidneys by trying to break down those proteins and filter out toxins. And I'm going to say toxins often, but I don't want you to see that on it can be very surface level when we say toxin. People say toxins and chemicals a lot, but don't necessarily know what they're talking about or know what they're suggesting. They just say it's all toxic. I mean it in a very literal way in how our body perceives a substance. There are certain things that go into our body and it will be perceived as toxic to our system, and it then has to undergo a detoxification process to try to eliminate it. And a large amount of what we intake does have some sort of toxic factor about it. So then our bodies get overwhelmed with trying to break down food, break down supplements, break down all of these aspects of what we're putting in our bodies, and also trying to filter out those toxins and chemicals within those foods. I'm trying to adjust my mic here, and it's probably getting staticky for you. Sorry. I'm trying to figure out this system I want to do. But all of that ultimately will end up hurting your kidneys and your adrenals. We'll end up with congested kidneys, and you're not able to fully detoxify or very minimally detoxify. The colon gets congested. You're not able to eliminate through going to the bathroom. And then we have, just this buildup of toxic substances backing up your system. And that runs through your nervous system. It runs into your brain. It runs into every aspect of your body. So that is what I mean when I say toxicity. It's toxic. It's adding a high toxicity to your body. So let's talk to vitamin D specifically. So I'm not reading. I'm going to credit certain places that I get information of, but I'm not going to go super scientific into this. I want to encourage other people. I want to encourage you to do your own digging as well. I don't necessarily want to be here to give you all the answers. I want to give you snippets of places for you to start exploring on your own. I always want to encourage you to empower yourself in your own education and in your own intuition, what feels right. Like for me, it never truly felt right when I was supplementing stuff. And I did do it for quite a while. So I've been there, I've done it. I've experienced that and the mindset behind it. But it still felt ultimately it's a fake. It's a synthetic. It's even the whole food versions of it. unless it's truly 100% whole food based nutrients. And so some supplements are whole food based, 100% whole food. Usually, like I get one it's called the Superfood Blend. It's mostly whole foods and herbs, and I get it from Dr. Morse. So I've leaned a lot into the herbal aspect of it because our connection to the earth and what the earth offers is going to work most conducively with our energetic systems. So we need to still remember we are a physical body. However, we are an energetic body as well. So the energetics of our system, we're pure energy wavelengths. And this can be sometimes hard to explain. But when you look at quantum physics, everything is basically a frequency. It's a frequency of energy that at a certain density kind of transforms into a physical form. So that is what humans are at this point. We are in a 3D density that makes us a physical form. But as we eat and think and live in a higher energetic manner, it's going to raise our vibration, raise our frequency. And that's what I mean as far as frequency. It's literally frequencies of energy that makes up our physical form. So vitamin D specifically. So first, I'm going to acknowledge the group Secosteroid Hormone D on Facebook. I suggest you go join that group. Look at all of the announcements and files to start. And I urge you not to just ask questions right away. They get people coming in all the time and just saying, what D do I need? Why don't I need D? Look at all the files, search previous posts. You can usually find absolutely everything that you need that's already been answered. They've made posts recently as far as the discussion of COVID and the relation to vitamin D, which is why I wanted to make this podcast in the first place, this episode. So there have been several articles, studies that have come out recently saying that people who end up positive with COVID tend to be lower in vitamin D. Okay, so first I want to break this down by saying every one of us will be exposed to this virus. And I say virus in quotations because I don't think it's just a contagious virus. But again, that's about the terrain theory, and that's another discussion. And two, almost all of us, almost everybody who is not eating a plant food, raw food based diet and has not healed their diseases and their systems from within and still suffer from illness, flus, any other disease, blood pressure, I mean, anything, you will very likely be what's considered deficient in D. However, you will also be deficient in many other things as well. So to pinpoint D and saying this correlates to this is, negligent in my perspective, because it's easy. That's how we're cherry picking a single vitamin and saying, well, this is why we're seeing so many COVID cases. Well, yes and no. I mean, can it be related to someone who is deficient in D and not getting enough of it in their body? Yeah, but there's a good likelihood of someone who is low and that is also low in a whole range of other things. And what I want to get to is it's not ultimately whether or not you are deficient. We always observe, modern medicine very often is observing everything in terms of lack. What are we lacking? Rather than what are we doing to support our system? So rather than simply testing to show us numbers of what we're deficient in, which by the way, those numbers are very inaccurate. They're not showing the true vitamin D specifically. It doesn't show all kinds of vitamin D. There's many different versions of vitamin D, by the way. D3 is different than D2, but both will be beneficial towards your D levels. And that's a much more detailed discussion that I'm just going to mostly D3 is from animal type foods, and D2 is very plant-based. However, both benefit the body in ultimately a similar way. So when people say vitamin D3, you need vitamin D3, that's why we need animal protein. Well, I disagree with that because automatically when people think of D, they think of D3. But that's only one form, if that makes sense. It doesn't mean that we need all of these forms. It just needs to be able to be broken down and utilized in our body in the way that benefits us. So, vitamin D, when tested in a doctor's office, they're only looking at one specific version of it. And it doesn't account for active D. So you have the 125 active D and storage D. So those are two ways we can see it within our system. And tests, we rely so much on tests, but they can only show you so much. It's very, it's only a very surface level look at the body. Again, we're looking very basic when you're just looking at the physical and it's a very 2D perspective. Face on, not considering anything that causes it, anything behind it, like why of why those numbers are what they are. So most testing, even if it shows deficient, there's a good chance that you aren't. I've only been tested once, and that was during pregnancy, and I was told how surprisingly high my levels were. And that was in like April. I'm in Wisconsin, so it's not like I was outside a huge amount of time. And that was never supplementing. So D, your greatest way. Oh, let's also acknowledge that D is a hormone. It's not simply a vitamin that you get from your food intake. We get stuck on that as well, that all the nutrients that you use in your body, all the vitamins and everything come from the foods you eat, and that's it. Again, it's a very surface level vision of our food, that need of food, which by the way, we don't have as strong of a need for food as much as we're quite gluttonous in our culture when it comes to food. We don't need half the foods that we actually intake. That's why there's so much sickness in Western culture. We're actually overeating. most of the time. You don't need 3 meals a day. You barely need 2 meals a day. I often don't have 2 meals. I've been, for the last 6 months probably, I don't eat breakfast. And I would rarely eat a lunch. And if I do, it's minimal, just some apples or bananas and some fruits. But that's beside the point. So we're so concentrated on intaking everything we need in a day, all these calories and all the breakdown of all these proteins and breakdowns of all these carbs and fats and calories and supplements, that we're actually harming ourselves in the process. This is where I say when we're actually adding toxicity into our system, this is when. So not only are we adding too many foods, we're adding too many foods that aren't beneficial to us. We're adding too many foods that are high in toxicity levels, whether that be pesticides, sprays, heavy metals, eating unhealthy meat sources or egg sources, or fruits that are produce that's sprayed. And then we're taking supplements that are also covered in pesticides and all sorts of other contaminants, just the level of contaminants of everything that we have. So we need to step back, take a really big step back, and take a much more conscious approach to what we eat and how we eat and where we're getting food from, the exposures of our foods, and how we feel eating them. Vitamin D is something that is produced within our body. It does come in certain nutrient forms as well. However, I want to say most of our vitamins, a lot of them are produced within our systems based on the environment that we're creating for them. So that's why we say sun is the best way for us to promote vitamin D production. It's that energy exchange. It's all an energy exchange. The foods you eat is an energy exchange. I'm going to be posting on my Instagram later today of I think it's called the angstroms, which is the frequency, the energy of your foods that contribute to the energy and frequency of your body. So when we're out in the sun and we're stepping on the earth barefoot, we are receiving energy, frequency. This energy and frequency exchange is a huge impact on the levels, how our bodies work, the consciousness of our system, the consciousness of our soul within this body. That's what we're benefiting. We're not just the physical body. We are the soul within our physical body. So we need to truly feed all of it and consciously feed all of it. So that's where nutrition, and I've been talking about this for a while, and that's the direction I want to go. This is the direction nutrition needs to go, that we need to step away from the really strict micromanaging system, very surface level micromanagement of our nutrition, and look at the whole picture of your body, all the aspects that build your digestive system and your lymphatic system and your energetic system, and how we can build that up from within. And that starts from allowing the body to really clean out. That's where that fasting and fruits helps cleanse the system so you can rebuild it. And when we're talking nutrient deficiency, I want to circle back to that again. We get stuck in that so much and even modern doctors talk so much about nutrient deficiency. And we have all these exceptions to it of how the food is grown, the soil's deficient, how we're eating food, our food's deficient. Take your supplements, take all this extra stuff, step back from that. Our Earth, planet Earth, Gaia, is enormously intelligent, regenerative, a very beautiful being, energetic frequency being, like humans. So by simply saying that the soil is deficient is not at all giving Mother Earth the credit she deserves. Nature has been built up in an ecosystem that is solely regenerative. The main things that have damaged our soils is not from the constant growing of foods. It's from what we're putting on top of those foods, spraying on those soils, killing many little worms and bugs that die and become a part of that earth, which in turn regenerates the soil. So by eating the foods that have been grown in those fields, you are indeed harming yourself because you're not only eating foods that have been sprayed by products that we shouldn't be eating, but we're consuming from an industry that is harming the planet and our ecosystems. So I want to leave you with this message, this goal within yourself. Next time you go to the grocery store, be very conscious of what you're buying and why. Be more conscious of where things are coming from, whether it's going to contribute to a higher frequency of your body, if it's going to benefit your system, or are you contributing to a damaging industry, not only to Mother Earth, but to your own body. So this conscious nutrition, this regenerative process of growing food will really be our way forward. And the supplement industry in itself is, I think, directly owned now by pharmaceutical industries as well. The same industry is running both. So when I see scientists promoting these certain vitamins and supplements, I don't trust it. That's kind of my red flag. And it seems cynical, but anybody in holistic health probably understands what I mean. When you see certain companies or organizations promoting certain supplements or whatever, it puts up a red flag for me immediately that there's likely some sort of not ultimatum, underlying benefit being had by some corporation or company, some sort of financial benefit. Because unfortunately, a good amount of our science and studies that we see today is bought by the same industries that are harming us. So it's just a vicious cycle. So who do we listen to? yourself, your intuition. It's time for us to tap back into that knowing within yourself and stop looking externally for something to save you, for something to heal you, for something to fix your body. Ultimately, that is going to come from deep within yourself. So thank you all for listening today. And I believe next week now I'll start on the regenerative detox and colon and lymphatic health and get into the depths of that. And after that, I want to start a chakra healing series. I've been doing that with my yoga classes, and I want to do that here now. Talk to each chakra. And we actually are in a 13 chakra system now. If you've been familiar with chakras, you probably understand our 7 chakras. But we're moving into a 13 chakra system. And we'll get into those. Each week will be about a new chakra, and there'll be kind of a mini meditation of tapping into, opening, activating those chakras, ending with kind of a rainbow body activation on the last day. So thank you for listening, and join me next week. I say I do an episode every Monday, but I think I'm going to say from now on they're going to be uploaded on Tuesdays, because I've been recording on Mondays as these are my days home. And I'll upload Monday night, Tuesday mornings. You'll get notifications if you follow me. So come follow me on a variety of platforms here. And I've been creating an anchor. So I have posts on my Instagram page, which is the Holistic Frugivore, my website, which is theholisticfrugivore.com, my YouTube channel, just Jess Cannell. And I also have a new Instagram page called Wild Woman Motherhood. And I'll be going more into the wild feminine, free birth advocating, unschooling in that page. And I actually might make a separate podcast for that as well. More related to wild parenting, rewilding the woman. And go from there. Lots of ideas in play. We'll just see what happens as we go. So thank you for joining me today. And I will be back next week with our regenerative health and lymphatic system. So thank you, blessings and love to you. And I hope you have a wonderful New Year's. Bye.